news, we see that there is an increase in demand for chicken. Chicken Farmers of Canada believes the worst of slump in chicken demand related to the COVID-19 pandemic will soon be over, and once again production increase to begin late this summer. I have Chicken Farmer Dave here to comment us on this. Hello, Dave.
Hi, Caleb.
Why was there a decrease in demands?
So when COVID first happened, there was a lot of shutdowns. So restaurants weren't open and that kind of thing. So our chickens go to restaurants like Kelsey's and Boston Pizzas. So if the restaurants aren't open, then chickens aren't being sold. People aren't eating them at restaurants. So because of COVID, then people stopped eating chickens. So our chickens had nowhere to go. So that's where they had to cut chicken supply. So we had less chickens to sell.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
How many chicks are in the barn now compared to before COVID?
Well, we have really close to 100,000 chickens in our barns.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and when COVID first hit, there was a 12% reduction. So there was actually 88,000 chickens in the barn. So we were only allowed to sell 88,000 instead of 100. So that's 12,000 less chickens.
That's so a lot of chickens.
That is a lot of less chickens, yeah, that's for sure.
That's 12,000.
Yeah.
What was the hardest challenge during COVID?
The hardest challenge was probably the unknown. So we weren't sure. Every time we have a new batch or flock of chickens, they give us a different percentage as to what's being opened. So most recently there was another lockdown. So what we thought was going to be just less 2% ended up being less 8%. So instead of losing 2,000 chickens, we lost 8,000 chickens. So the unexpected things like that, just because of the way things get locked down, is kind of really hard to manage. Feed hasn't really been a problem. They've stayed open, so we could always still feed our chickens. So the chickens, we always wanted to make sure that they were happy and healthy as well. So none of that really got hindered. So that was all okay.
So people could eat them without
it
tasting good, bad?
Sure, yeah, that's right. So that's right.
And I'm gonna ask one more question.
Shoot.
So when they go do you bring them to the store, or do you give it to a spot and it gets delivered to the store?
Oh, that's a really good question. So there would be a processor. We would raise all the chickens, and then when it comes time that they're to the right stage, then they would go to a processor, and the processor would then do their job, and then they would get shipped to the store. So there's one person in between us and the store. That sound good?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you, Dave, for coming over tonight.
You're very welcome. Happy to be here.
Now back to you, Mr. Merchanton. Any questions or comments?